California Pizza Kitchen. California knows how to pizza in the kitchen. Okay. Okay, I have to start. Okay. Welcome back. There's no way I'm gonna die in this guy twice, so I decided I'll just fight him here because it takes a long time. I wanted to talk about going to the therapist. I was really nervous yesterday, all yesterday. I was a little bit less nervous because for some reason I felt like I knew what his first question was going to be. So I guess because he called me on Monday and kind of asked me, I mentioned that, like he asked me, well, tell me about yourself. Why do you want to see a therapist? He said something like that. And so I figured he's going to probably ask a similar question, and I want to be prepared for it, and I want to have a good answer. And so I did my audio journal thing on the ride home, and I prepared an answer for a couple questions. The first question was, I guess it was like, tell me about your anxiety. And that was kind of the first question that he did ask me. I mean, he asked me about like my basic stuff, like do I have brothers or sisters, or do I have where my parents live and stuff like that. Do I have a job? So I prepared an answer, and I felt good about it. And when I was sitting there in the office waiting, I was like I wrote it down in my notes, and I was looking at it and just getting prepared and rehearsing it in my head. That's it, right? And I did. I forget what I said. Yeah, I don't really remember what I said. But I remember it being a good answer. Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Then the other do I have the questions that I wrote down? What made you come here today? That was he didn't ask me that, but I prepared an answer for that question. And I was gonna say, I feel like I should have come. I feel like I probably should have come since I was a teenager. The biggest barrier, I think, for me coming was that I would have had to talk to my parents about it, and I didn't know how to do that. And okay, so Pegasus boots. I just figured out how to tell them about it recently. I just sent them an email, and also, I guess when I was younger, I always assumed, I got the flippers, that I would just get better. I guess I assumed it was just like, I don't know, when you're a kid you're anxious, and then when you get older you get better. So maybe I just thought, I'll just get better on my own and I won't need help. But now it's like I'm 26 and I have an apartment and a job, and I'm still not better. So what'd that do? This is not where I came from. And then the other question I got ready for was, what are your goals for coming here? He kind of asked me that at the end. And one goal is, I didn't mention this, but I want to get a better job. I don't like the job that I have, and I'm worried that any job I go to, I won't enjoy it because I'll have the anxiety. So I should focus on that first, and then once I'm better, then I can find a new job. And I want to feel comfortable in social situations, and I mentioned how I don't really feel comfortable around my family, which feels bad, and I don't like that. So I mentioned that, and we talked about that. Like, my family will have parties, and I just, and when I went on vacation in July, I wasn't really comfortable around my brother, which felt terrible. I think those were all the questions. I need a key. So what did we talk about? We talked about, I think the first thing we kind of talked about was my job. I think he could tell that it was easy for me to talk about my job. I didn't really expect it to be easy, but it kind of was. I was just talking about what I did, like, every day. Well, yeah, he asked me, like, take me through a typical day or something like that. And recently I've been doing a lot of stuff, so it was easy to talk about all the stuff I do. Like customer service, and I knew I could talk about customer service stuff. I didn't feel customer service seems like an obvious thing for someone with social anxiety would have trouble with, so I felt comfortable talking about it. I don't know, I didn't feel self-conscious about, like, well, I'm in customer service and I don't like it. I didn't feel like that was hard to talk about. And I think he noticed that, so we talked for like 20 minutes about my job, probably. And he was giving me advice because I was telling him about it could be stressful talking to customers, and he was trying to give me some advice about that. And sometimes that can, I don't know if that's a super great idea on the first day to try to give somebody advice and try to solve the problem. It comes across like, well, you don't really know me and you want to solve my problems already. But I tried to listen, and I did. And he gave good advice. But it was like the first day, I don't feel like most of it sank in, really. He was giving me advice about, like, what he was saying, if you're stressed, like, maybe you need to talk to somebody to try to explain the situation and provide a solution. In the back of my head, I'm kind of thinking, like, I'm really far away from doing anything like that. But he doesn't really know me. I felt kind of like he was treating me kind of like a normal person. And that was weird. I was kind of expecting him to be, well, I don't think he's like a social anxiety specialist. He's actually like a sports psychologist specialist, I think. But I was thinking about this. The good thing about social anxiety is, it doesn't really matter how good the therapist is, or at least to start, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that you're there and you're talking. That's automatically going to make you better. It doesn't even really matter what the therapist says, at least to start, I think. So that's a benefit of social anxiety, I think. I don't know, I was thinking about that. Like, if you have a... it's the only thing... It seems like the only, like, disorder where just the fact that you're at the therapist is gonna help you automatically. Like, if you're an alcoholic or something, you're not just gonna automatically not be an alcoholic just because you went to the therapist. You, like, have to take their advice and use it, but I feel like I'm automatically just... Yeah, it felt like a workout. Like, I was just exercising a muscle that like a social muscle that was, like, atrophied or something. I should really put the clock over here. I don't like that. I always look at it. So we talked about work. Then about halfway through, I mean, the whole time I was there, for some reason I felt like I was holding back tears. Oh no, where do I get that from? And so about, I guess, maybe like 40 minutes in, one of the questions he asked, I was answering it, and then my voice was like, my throat was starting to get, like, tight, because I was starting to tear up for some reason, and then it just kept getting worse, and eventually one of the questions he asked, I don't know, I didn't really cry, but I felt myself, like, if I kept talking I would cry, so I stopped and I was like, I'm sorry, and he was like, okay, take your time, and I was, like, quiet for 5 minutes, and I was never really able to talk as much as I wanted to, which was kind of interesting. I felt like I had more to say, but I didn't want that to happen again, where I, like, would start crying, so I just didn't talk really that much for the rest of the appointment. It's kind of funny, when you... Oh... I think I know what to do. I have to remember. I don't have a good memory. Yeah, that's what you have to do. It's kind of funny. He was still, when I didn't want to talk, he was still asking me questions. So I guess I was kind of trying to think of ways to not talk, but also to not make that uncomfortable. I was kind of doing a lot of thinking faces, like, but I wasn't talking. I rewatched The Office recently. It reminds me of that episode where Jim is jinxed and he can't talk, and he starts he's, like, forced to talk in a meeting, but I don't know, he like tears up and to get out of it. I don't know. It reminded me of that. Get the boots. I have to go now. Okay. I'm not sure why I cried. I guess that's why, one of the reasons maybe why I don't talk that much is because I'm just afraid of that happening. And it's a rational fear because it did happen. Okay, so it's middle, left, up right, up left, down right, middle, left, middle. So it's middle, left, up. Let's do it one more time. I'm gonna forget. So it's middle, left, up. Middle, left, up, left, down. Okay, I've got it. I don't have it. Middle, left, up. Okay. Middle, right. Okay. Okay, gotta kill these guys first. Middle. Oh, okay, I've got it. Middle, left, up, left, down. I'm so proud of myself. I remembered 5 things in a row. Okay, I think that'll be it for today. My first episode, I think, was a little bit too long. Don't want the episodes to be too long. Let's see what's up here first. Oop, go. What do I have to do? Okay, I'll try to figure it out in the break then. I think that was 15 minutes. Okay. See you tomorrow.